Welcome to the Throttle Up Leadership Podcast. Our theme for 2025 is the future of work. Meaning is the new money. In a world shaped by rapid innovation and constant change, the pursuit of purpose and impact has never been more important. I'm Dr. John Dentico, your host, bringing over 30 years of experience in leadership, strategic thinking, and purpose-driven innovation. Here, we tackle the pressing challenges of our time, from the rise of artificial intelligence to the growing need for meaning in the workplace. Together, we'll uncover how leaders can ethically integrate AI to enhance decision-making and keep humanity at the heart of their organizations. Remember, amidst all the technological advancements, in the end, it's always about the people. This podcast is your resource for actionable tools, thought-provoking discussions, and inspiring stories. It's time to go beyond leadership development and focus on leadership impact, creating workplaces where people thrive, innovation flourishes, and meaning truly becomes the new currency. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Now, let's throttle up and dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to the Throttle Up Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Dr. John Dentico. With me today is Suhein Beck, an author, captivating speaker, and cultural bridge builder whose extraordinary journey from Circassian exile and Syrian refugee to self-made entrepreneur and corporate leader is a testament to resilience, reinvention, and relentless determination. After rising to the highest ranks in U.S. corporate property management, Suhein launched two businesses from scratch, growing both to global success in just 5 years. As CEO of Alage LLC, she transformed her family's medical skincare formulas into a thriving, self-financed national brand, all while building Target Real Estate, a brokerage and valuation consulting firm, helping investors make strategic asset decisions. Suhein's upcoming novel, Broken Leases, due for publication in the summer of 2025, is a bold, immersive story rooted in her career in property management. The book tackles toxic workplace culture and mental health with raw honesty and her signature wit. Known as the culture cultivator, Suhein is passionate about helping leaders build healthier workplace cultures and inspiring audiences to find opportunity in adversity. Her keynotes and stories span continents, languages, she speaks 5, and cultural divides, offering fresh insight into the hilarious, heartfelt, and often misunderstood realities of multicultural life and leadership. Whether she's dodging bombs, building brands, or breaking barriers, Suhein lights up every stage with the kind of fire that inspires others to build something from nothing and leave a legacy worth remembering. I am truly honored to have her here with me today. Thank you so much. Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. Good morning. Can I just hire you to do all of my intros on every platform from now on?
I will send you a copy. How's that?
Yes, please.
And you can have it on forever. Yeah, no problem. So thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. So let's start with the first question. Your journey from Circassian exile and Syrian refugee to global entrepreneur is nothing short of extraordinary. What were the pivotal moments that helped you turn adversity into opportunity?
Courage. It was the constant exercise of that muscle that allowed me to propel forward and not get paralyzed. So definitely courage, and courage is something that the Circassian culture and heritage is founded upon. Children are brought up with that specific motivation from birth. And I'll give you an example. One time my dad asked me to go downstairs. We had a restaurant in New Jersey, and go downstairs and get me some ice cream. It was late at night. The restaurant was closed. The problem was is that we were under constant barrage and attack of gangs in New Jersey. So they were always able to penetrate the lower floor. We could go downstairs and find somebody hiding in the back room trying to kill us, kill our dog, poison the dog, or set us on fire. So we were living a war. Basically, we escaped a war from Syria and then found ourselves in domestic violence in the United States, fighting gangs and mafias in New Jersey in the 70s. He asked me to go downstairs, and I was maybe 7, 8 years old. I kept hesitating. And of course, I would never defy him, but I kept hesitating, and I kept trying to do chores or, show that I'm cleaning or doing something in order to validate why I'm not going downstairs. I was afraid. And then he sensed that. And he's like, no, you will never allow fear to consume you. We went to the back of the house where the kitchen was. He opened up a drawer, got a knife, and then showed me how to hold the knife. No, you hold it like this, like a dagger, because this way it's easy to knock out. This way you have more. And for those of you that are not seeing this on the podcast, basically holding the dagger as though you were stabbing someone in a 70-degree angle downwards. So that process of focusing on preparation, calculation, worst case scenario, took the element of fear away. So then it was a matter of, okay, buckle up. This is how we go down. This is how we slice. So that concept of the warrior, of being a Circassian, was inherent in the upbringing. So that was a pivotal moment in my life, because that taught me that in those moments of fear or courage, no, it's preparation, calculation, worst case scenario. All right. Right in your face, bring it. I know someone's going to be down there. I'm prepared. And I'm going to take them by the element of surprise. And my dad showed me, you're small. You're able to maneuver. The story of David and Goliath, and knowing the weakness and being able to maneuver in agility. Partially to answer your question, it is inherent in our upbringing as Circassians. This is the warrior command that we are under attack. We will always be under attack. And we have to prepare. That takes the concept of fear almost out of the equation, because now it's built into life. It's preparation, it's calculation, it's a given.
Yeah. Brilliant. Really brilliant. I mean, I grew up in New York City. And I grew up in the Upper East Side when it was a war zone. I lived a block away from Spanish Harlem. We were just on the border of Spanish Harlem. And it was a war zone in the summertime. It really was. You were very fearful about different things like that.
I watched my father get mugged on Harlem River Drive. I specifically remember that. We were in his limousine. He was a limousine driver back and forth in New Jersey, New York. And he went inside a store. I watched him get mugged. And what's crazy is that he had a gun inside the car. And he hesitated just before he went in to take the gun or not. He just put it kind of like, in that dash and then left. And I was, again, 8, 9, 10 years old. I remember thinking, do I take the gun and go at him? But they were both so close to each other that I was calculating I could possibly miss and kill my dad. So he's got to take this on his own in order for me. Right. Those calculations were always there. So you understand the 70s in the East Side, how crazy that was.
I grew up in the 50s and 60s in that area when it was a very interesting place. One of the things you come away from is you learn how to have, as my mother would say, eyes in the back of your head.
Right. I say it's just like West Side Story. And remember the gangs constantly attacking each other. We used to joke about this. And West Side Story was one of my dad's favorite musicals. Anytime something like that would happen, he would say, "Welcome to America."
Well, yeah.
To light. And what that did was it put it into perspective that, okay, this is normalized.
Right.
I did not know that my childhood was not normal up until 5 years ago when I was speaking to Syrian refugees, the new generation of Syrian refugees. And I was speaking to them on a tennis court in Anaheim at an apartment complex, trying to pump them up that, hey, you're now in the land of opportunity. Hey, now you've got, take advantage of this and rise to the level. And some of them were trying to milk the system and saying, why didn't I get the furniture given to me? Why am I subsidized apartments? And I'm thinking, in the 70s, we did not have a penny of subsidized. Like, there was no government handouts. There was no organizations, churches, mosques, anything to provide help. So we had to hit the ground running as immigrants with no language, nothing, and make it happen. And we did. We had multiple businesses along the way, and we literally started from nothing. So we stayed 2 weeks over a friend's house in New Jersey, and then we hit the ground running. So I don't have mercy for basically immigrants who don't hit the ground running when they hit the ground here. So I am tough when it comes to something like that, where it's just like, no, you've got the opportunity of multiple lifetimes right now in your hands.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to tell this story because it's so funny. Having been raised in that environment, I became a naval officer, and now I'm on an aircraft carrier. We're 100 miles off the coast of Vietnam. I was assigned to the engineering department, and I'm learning how to be an engineer on an aircraft carrier. So I had to do a lot of training and work to learn the systems. And one day, it was midnight. I came up from down in the holes where the boilers and the engines were. I'm kind of like having a good time. And most of the other guys are kind of fearful or concerned. And they said, how could you have such a great attitude? You're an aircraft carrier, you're in engineering, and we're off the coast of Vietnam. I said, yeah, but I'm from New York. This is light work for me. This is easy going. I don't know what you're talking about. So it was funny. And I don't know if that has anything to do with this discussion about leadership, but I had to tell that story.
Yes, it does, because it's perspective.
Right.
So, please save your whining.
So tell me and my listeners about the Circassian heritage, and start with, where is that area located in the map of the world? Okay. And tell me a little bit about that culture.
Okay. So it is exactly at the center point of Eurasia, east of Europe. So where Greece is, just go 150 miles across the Black Sea. There is a ridge of mountains called the Caucasus Mountains. It is north of Turkey, south of Russia. Between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, there's a ridge of mountains called the Caucasus Mountains. That's where we are. Those mountains, what we call our only friends, because they were the ones that helped us ward off multiple invasion after invasion from Genghis Khan trying to penetrate from the east into the west of Europe. We were the ones that held him off 3 invasions worth. To put this in perspective, we fought the Russian Empire, the small indigenous tribe, 12 tribes. We've inhabited this area for 7,000 years contiguously. That land is in our DNA. We were amputated away from our land, because without our land, our DNA crumbles. To put that in perspective to you, because to inhabit something 7,000 years, that land is everything in us. Our immune systems shatter. There's much more microbiology involved in that. Anyway, so we are 7,000 years indigenous to that land. The Russian Empire discovered it is so rich, fertile, and with so many minerals. And it was where the Bronze Age was created. The weaponry, the minerals, all were from there. So the best weapons were there. Later, Alfred Nobel discovered that the best walnut trees came from the Caucasus. And so he was able to create longer barrel rifles. Ironically, our own resources were then created to create weapons that Russia used against us. Little known fact. The Russian Empire, we fought for 101 years, from 1763 to 1864. John, think about that. 101 years without any help from the outside world whatsoever. Think about Ukraine now. And yes, this is industrialized weaponry. But how did a small nation that is completely self-sustained handle the Russian Empire for 101 years? So the Russian Empire till now is embarrassed about this concept that how did this small indigenous warrior nation, ward off Russia for 101 years. They can't comprehend that until now, so they tried to erase us. The Circassians, obviously, like a nation that is capable of warding off that kind of level of power, speaks to who we are. We were not great architects. We are not known for great levels of other things. But as far as warriors, we commanded the respect of the world at that time. We have always been known as that. And strangely enough, generationally, till now, most of the Circassian men that are dispersed around the world tend to attract into military security positions. On May 21st, 1864, after the 101-year war, the majority of us that survived the genocides were dispersed into Europe and the Middle East. That explains how my family ended up in Syria. A lot of the Muslim countries took us in, but a lot of the European countries did too. Generally, it was mostly the Muslim countries. So it was Syria, Jordan, Palestine. Turkey has the biggest population till now. So as of now, Turkey has about 5 million. And then the rest of us are dispersed anywhere from Australia to the United States and Europe.
Very interesting. Talk about the warrior culture. Lately, I've been talking about mission statements. I've been leaning on the movie 300 with Gerard Butler. And in the movie, they make a statement. They said, "This is Sparta." And everybody understood exactly who they were. They use it by saying, it's such a simple slogan, but it's so powerful. It tells everybody, we know who we are. We know what we're about. And everybody knows who we're about. Not just us, but everybody in the world at that time knows who we are. So, we're not the guys you want to mess with.
This is Sparta. Speaking of Sparta, we also fought. The Greeks came and invaded us, and the Amazons, the women, as well as the men, fought off Spartacans, the Spartan heroes. The mythology of the Amazons and the mythology of Wonder Woman, the golden belts, the metal belts, well, that was ours. And it still is till now, that all of our costumes that we still wear today have those metal belts. The Spartan heroes, that was their conquest trophy to show that I conquered an Amazon woman by taking her belt. What is that belt? If you remember Wonder Woman, if anybody was able to take the belt off of Wonder Woman, she lost her superpower.
Correct.
What does that signify? That belt was her identity. So her superpower was her identity. And that's us as well, as Circassians. Our superpower is our identity and what we've been able to maintain in our heritage. As far as leadership is concerned and branding, this is what I speak about now, taking the 12 principles of eclipse, which is the Circassian mantra, or the Circassian upbringing, basically the religion of Circassians. And I don't mean that in the sense of religion specifically. I mean the belief system was based on a code of honor, on discipline, on this warrior nation concept and the construct of raising children to be the most amazing warriors. That is something that is built in. They would put a 3-year-old girl on a horse with a 3-year-old boy, and they're equal. That is the great equalizer, to be on the horse. When the Spartan Greeks came, they had never seen that concept. They were dizzy with what they were seeing. Teaching a girl how to, throw a bow and arrow, basically, is the same as a boy. So they elevated the concept of the strength of these women. But in fact, it was just the agility of being on the horse and being a very equestrian nation. Applying that into modern day leadership is my fascination. These principles now apply into leadership of, for example, branding. That belt is our superpower, our identity. Our costume, it is part of the corporate company brand in order for you to showcase who you are and what you are. Your true identity is your superpower.
And it also speaks to, I know you're concerned about this as well, in terms of workplace culture and mental health. I know you're very much concerned with dealing with things like toxic workplaces. It's being able to create an environment. In today's modern workplace, we're talking about creating an environment where people come to do their best work every single day. How do we create this collaborative environment where everybody is part of the organization? The mission statement many times and this is a pet peeve of mine, speaks to the outside world. It says, this is who we are. You should love us because we're so
Mhm.
great. But it forgets about the fact that many times the mission statements for the people inside the organization. Why are you here? Why are you working with us? How do our values align so that you feel you're part of us and we're part of you, in a manner of speaking? I'd love to get your reflections on that idea.
Okay. So I'm going to simplify that entire answer with one word. And that one word is what's missing on the landscape of leadership, politically, corporate, organizationally, nonprofits, churches, mosques, organizations, whatever. One word has been missing. If this one word was plugged into that wall circuit of this landscape, that the entire landscape would change. And when I say this word, tell me the honest truth. Does it make sense? The word is honor. What is your reaction?
Having served in the military, I get how important honor is. And I agree with you. I wish more organizations had greater honor. But I will tell you honestly, there are a lot of people in organizations from the CEO on down who don't understand the concept of honor. To do the right thing, even if it means that you suffer,
Mhm.
even if it means that you are going to get yourself in trouble.
That's why I wanted to be on this podcast. Everyone listening, do you know, Nara? Like, I had to ask John twice.
It's very interesting to me that people don't understand that. Branches into many conversations I've had with some of the incredible guests on my podcast. And we talk about vulnerability. Vulnerability is about honor. It's about saying, I made a mistake. I messed this up, but I'm going to go fix it. It's about authenticity. We talk about being authentic. And there are so many leadership and coaches who talk about having authenticity and people somehow feeling as though that if they make a mistake, they're condemned. It's a condemnation of them personally. And the answer is no, you're a human being. We all make mistakes. We learn from mistakes. But the ability to stand up and say, I made this mistake and I own it. There's one thing I've learned about human mental health or a mental sense of ownership. If you don't own something, you can't do anything about it. If you're always blaming someone else, you can't do anything about it because you have no control. You have no ownership. If you are a victim, if you constantly are reciting the victim mantra, you did this to me, this is you giving me victimization or victimhood, you can't take control. You can't own it. You can't change it. You can't do anything with it. I would agree with you wholeheartedly that honor means so much. It's one simple word, but it means a great deal to how people can conduct themselves in the world we live in today. I'll throw it back to you.
Well, because you were in the military, you understand that. I've been fascinated with this word. And another book that I'm actually writing, this is a lifelong project called Shades of Honor. It takes our 7,000-year history and wraps it into a love story and then goes into the future. The fact that you were in the military, that is one small cave of this culture that did understand what honor is supposed to be. Other than that, and correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't that word honor been taken out of the vernacular? It's not used. So unless you say, my child made honor roll, and you have a bumper sticker on your car, What other examples has that word been used in the American vernacular?
It's a good question.
It hasn't. So, as a Circassian, I identify my enemy. Who is my enemy? What is my purpose? I have identified my enemy today, and to my last dying breath, it is this trap of the American psychology, especially in the corporate world, of leaders, that is CYA. You say it. I'm not going to say it. You say it. What does CYA mean?
Cover your ass.
Cover your asset. I say cover your asset. And liability, basically.
Oh, yeah. Never admit you made a mistake.
Right. So cover your assets. What does that mean? That means there's something for you to cover up. That means you're not being transparent. That means that you're trying to clean up something that should not have happened. You're documenting. So that construct is what I have waged war against. Whether I'm speaking or training, that is what I propose. And without sounding preachy, I'm trying to reintroduce that concept into the sociology of today, especially in America, because a lot of Eastern cultures like Japan, Korea still have that concept, like the original samurai code.
It's all about honor. Honor.
I'm sure you did. You've seen the movie The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. Do you remember he was brought back to Japan at that time where they were phasing out the samurais? And he was missioned to go there as the top gun, basically, and phase them out and teach them the industrialization of military systemization, correct? What happens when he goes there? I'll say this one thing and then you take the next point. He is taken in as a prisoner of war. Then what happens? Say the rest.
He was converted because he was among people that taught him the essence of being honorable.
Right.
It is my most favorite Tom Cruise movie.
Right?
I must have watched it 10 times. And I think
that core principle touches you, John. And
yeah.
I know that's why I wanted to be on this podcast. For those of you that don't know, I actually had sent a request to be on the podcast and I was rejected. My cousin, who lives in Turkey, is my virtual assistant. I said, I want to get on that one. She sent you another letter and immediately you responded. I was like, oh, finally. I don't beg and I don't ask. I get invited. Yeah, I wanted to be on this podcast. So there you go. I wanted this. And I knew that this would mean something to you.
Yeah, it's a great movie. And Ken Watanabe, who played Katimoto, was phenomenal in that role. The chemistry between the two of them was just spectacular, in my opinion.
And he discovered honor.
Movies.
And so this is the thing. America, whether it's military or corporate, represents the latest in technology, the bullying concept of we are the strongest. And yet, what about the intelligence and the long-term strategization of wisdom? That's what those Eastern cultures bring. And that's when Tom Cruise was shocked. He finds the depth, the beauty, and the wisdom. And he's like, I can't destroy this. So he betrays his so-called, loyalty, honor of the American military that sent him there on the mission in order for him to upgrade his value system to one that is higher than his own. And that is the crux of my mission today, to introduce the concept and basically make honor sexy. I hate to cheapen that concept.
No, I don't think you're cheapening it at all. I have to ask this because I'm very curious. And that is, you speak to or work with mixed audiences, right? Men and women. I'm very curious to ask, how do women react to this? I mean, because I would think that men and women may respond differently. I'm very curious to hear what your experience has been with the response from women.
Okay. So after my speaking engagements, I get the group of people that just want to come and talk to me, right? The women, it's crazy. They're saying, you know what? That's what's missing. Like, I want a man who's honorable. And I said, yes. We don't want, what happened is women started looking for the father of their 27 children in a bar on the dance floor based on his moves, his agility and physical. He's going to be the father of my 27 children. Versus Michael Landon in Little House on the Prairie. Remember, he was honorable. He would sacrifice anything and everything for his family, protecting them and being that, the father of the 27 children, so to speak. It was actually 3 daughters, but that honor is what we were craving as women, because that's sexy. That is the ambition of a man. That embodies, that man that will protect a woman's honor. Okay. And yes, whereas men, that equates to respect. And they crave that too, because in the end, what are they craving? They're craving that adoration from a woman. And I'm like, I'm tapping into something incredible on a social sphere. We're all craving the same thing. She is craving a man that she can look up to. Because let's face it, marriage is obnoxiously wrapped up in trying to deal with each other's isms. Love is overrated. But respect is the common denominator that survives a marriage.
Right. But people don't realize that they are two different things. Love is different than respect. You can love a person and not respect them.
Yeah.
You see this many times in the parent-child relationship. A child may love their mother or father, but they don't respect them for one reason or another.
Right.
I tell my friends, don't worry, your child's going to love you. The question is, are they going to respect you? Do you have borders? Do you have boundaries? Do you have things that, right. Yeah, I think it's like they love their children beyond any measure. I don't know if they've built a healthy relationship in terms of respect.
Right.
And it's a sad thing to see. I think they're confused that they are two separate, definitive things. So it's very, very interesting to me. Let me ask you this as we're getting close to the end here. This has been a wonderful conversation, even though we've gone down some different roads, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody. You probably know what this is, but that's okay. I've asked people from all over the world this question. If you had a magic wand and you could pick one thing you wanted to change in the work world, what would that thing be, and why did you choose it?
Honor.
Honor.
Done.
All right.
Done.
Infusing honor into the behaviors of people so they become naturally.
They breathe it. I'll give you an example. I had started a job recently, and that was the inspiration of the book, Broken Laces. The first day on the job, the gossip immediately started about our supervisor, the regional property manager. I started just around the time that the Christmas party was going to happen a week later. All of them were talking about, oh yeah, remember last year when, let's just say Bill, what happened? Apparently Bill is married, drank, and was dirty dancing with another regional property manager who was married while his wife was pregnant. And dirty dancing, I mean, like really dirty dancing, and revealing that they were actually having an affair, because that level of physical comfort wasn't a new precept, and it was exposed in that moment. And it was because of the drinking, and it was because of the behavior. So that was the first day on the job where I discovered that the regional property manager of one of the top 5 property management companies in the world had that gossip trail following him. And it just soured my ability to ever look at him with any kind of sense of decency. And it was like, this is a man who is cheating on his wife. He's going to cheat on reports. He's going to cheat on other things. It's a trail of betrayal. Ain't nobody got time for that. I want a leader. I want my managers and the people that work with me or above me that I can look up to. I can say, yeah, I want to go into that position and be this. And that role modeling is nothing. This
Yeah.
casualness of behavior, as you were saying, a lot of speakers speak to authenticity. No, don't be authentic on that level. Don't be casual. Bring your formality, your etiquettes, your protocols to the table. Do not expose these ugly, dirty laundry things. First of all, don't be that. Secondarily, don't expose it because you destroy that for the whole culture of the workforce. So that
Very
trickle
interesting.
down principle definitely manifests itself all the way down.
Very interesting. You've given me a lot to think about. I've got to connect the dots in my own mind and bring these things together. Sometimes it takes me a while to process stuff, to kind of let me think about this and how does this connect to that kind of a thing. So it's been great. I can't thank you enough for being here with me today on the Throttle Up Leadership Podcast, even though you took 2 times to get here. But and that's on me for whatever reason. And so I really appreciate your willingness to do this. Wish you.
Quality attracts quality. And so I had to be here.
I appreciate that very much. Listen, I appreciate you, and I hope you have all the greatest success in the world in the future. You're a warrior. You're a trooper. You're a warrior, and it's great to have warriors on the show. Thank you so very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John.